Now we should have audio. My goodness. My goodness. Right, this should be working now. You got to love the fun. The fun and games of it all. The fun and games of it all. Welcome to the Gavin Ramon Show again. And we're going to try and last longer than a minute and a half this time, which will be the story of my life, ladies and gents, especially with the ladies. Right, go live. Let's just double check that you're all here with me and it's all working. I think that it is now. Are we there? It says that it's there and it says that you're there. Right, that's good. Yes. I don't know. It just, I tried to load Chrome and it just kept flickering, like it wouldn't load up. And I closed Chrome completely, tried to load it up and it just kept flicking. It wouldn't stay on. Right. Okay. So let's try and get back into things. Welcome back. This, as I say, this story in the background, this is about grooming gang victims being completely ignored by both the government and the Mayor of London. So we'll continue with this.
Any real understanding?
And we're listening to one of the victims now.
I don't believe it, because how could it be in a small place like Oxford? These kids keep going missing for weeks at a time. We're all turning up in the same state. It's the same story, if you like, on repeat, and no one's going, there's something wrong with these guys. We might actually need to pull them in and ask them what the hell's going on. That didn't happen, not once. I personally think that the police and social services
are responsible.
Were corrupt, because the more that I've learned over the years, the more their version of what happened doesn't add up, right? Yep. I don't see how it's possible in a small place like Oxford for children to repeatedly go missing over the period of time that they were, so from late 90s to 2012, persistently being found with the same clique of people, and for them to say, we only had limited information. That's not limited information. That's a lot of information. And when Bullfinch happened, the police came to me. They came to me years after I'd been abused, years after I'd somehow rebuilt my life. And they came to me and they asked for my help. They wanted my help. They needed my help. And they pressured me and they emotionally blackmailed me, and they said, think about all the other girls it's still happening to. And they actually did something.
The corruption of all of this crap goes so deep, don't it? It really does.
That was, in my opinion now, unforgivable. So it was put to me that because another young person had run away with me and was subsequently abused during that period of time, that if I didn't help them, there was a possibility that I could have been charged alongside those men.
It shows you how effed up it is. It makes me so fucking mad.
In my opinion, because I was a child. I was a child that was being abused. But that was also put to me as a possibility for me to consider. And so I didn't really have a choice. I mean, it was all done in a very friendly way, but there was that undertone of, listen, if you do not go along with this, then we might go down this route.
On the other one, we've got two streams, ladies and gents. We've got a vertical stream and a horizontal stream, full screen and a phone screen.
You're going to have to talk, kind of thing. So I did. And ultimately, they were arrested, charged, remanded. And then the trial happened. It went to the Old Bailey. And I was on the stand for a week, and it was the hardest thing I've ever done. My entire life and every choice I'd made, not just during the time that I've been abused, but every choice I've made up until the day that I went to that court was being scrutinised. I was being ripped apart, and ultimately I was found to be telling the truth, but it was very, 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 very hard.
And it makes you wonder with a lot of things, and not just this, why a lot of women don't come forward. You know, they get laughed at, or they get, and I'm not saying believe all women, I'm not saying that, but this is serious, serious stuff.
Came forward and they were found to be telling the truth as well. And it broke me hearing that they had experienced exactly the same story almost. I mean, there were some, differences, but ultimately it was the same story over and over and over. And, some of the other girls, it happened much later. So I knew that it was just going on and on and on and on. And they were much younger than me, but these guys just hadn't stopped. They just carried on and on and on. And they were found guilty. It was 6 months after I went and gave evidence that they were actually found guilty, and they were sentenced to life. Some of them were sentenced to life with very long minimum terms, longer than you'd get for murder. And that's when I realised how serious this actually was.
Yeah.
Because,
I mean, as I say, for those to recap, because it cut off, this story begun with this lady is saying that when she was 12 years old, she was approached by someone in her 20s. That, again, being in social services, should have been ding, 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 alarm bells. So it's not just one thing of the Mayor of London or the government. It's the whole system is a complete failure on these kids.
Rotherham, they got like 8 years, 10 years. Oxford, they got life with 20-year minimum terms. And it sank in at that moment. This was bad. This was as bad as what my brain wasn't making this up. I was not making this up. And it actually traumatized me so much hearing the judge.
Again, so that's what I was trying to say to you lot. That's what I was trying to say to you lot. I wonder how many of these girls are not with us anymore, like not alive, because they couldn't handle the stress, and no one's ever going to know. That's the sort of stuff. Because it's all well and good them doing something about it now for the history of things, but what's happening today now, it's still happening because they've denied it for so long. No one's really been getting to the bottom of all of it, and it's rampant within the government. 100% rampant that people know what's going on.
The sickest thing was that the police were sat behind me when they were being sentenced, and they were actually cheering. The police were cheering. And I remember being taken up to the little room upstairs, and the police were like, "Oh, what a result. It's such a," they were tooting their own horns and making out that they'd done this great job and saying that, what a result. We finally got justice. And I thought, what justice? What justice? Because I've just been told that these guys are going to prison for 20 odd years. Their life, they've got longer than what they would have got if they would have killed me. And you're saying that this is a good thing? How the is this a good thing? Like, everything.
That's what I'm trying to say. Your life's been destroyed, isn't it? Your life has been absolutely tarnished.
Taken away from me.
This is why I know I'll go on about it, but this is why I go so hard on this, and I keep going on and on and on about this, because with all the things that are happening in the world, you go Gaza, Palestine, Ukraine, all of these things that are happening in Iran, and it is affecting women and children, of course. I'm not denying that. But this happening on our soil, in our country, and the government dismissing it, it's happening to children. It's children. I'm a bit more, I wouldn't say lenient, but a bit more heartless when it comes to us adults, because we're in this world of cruelty. We're in this world of harshness. We know as adults what the real world is really like. We know how bloody hard it is, your 9-to-5 jobs, the brutality of it all, the mortgages, the rates going up, the illegal immigration stuff. We deal with that as adults. A child has no say in any of this. A child has no control over what happens to them, to an extent. Sometimes the parents are at fault unless they're in social care. This is why I go on about it so much, because we know how cold the world is. A child, 12 years old, shouldn't be dealing with this. Nowhere. And that's what makes me feel sick.
My life is ruined. I had so much potential and it's all gone, and you're saying this is a good thing? Like, you're making out that this is a good day? This is the day of my entire life. It wasn't a good day, it was a bad day, because it just sunk in. At that moment it sunk in, and I thought everything that I was telling you was true. all them times I sat there in the cell.
Like this shit makes me want to cry, because it's like you don't often see someone on here talking about it and crying. So it's like it's normally brushed over and they speaking about it in front of the camera, and they're a bit more what's the word? Contemplating and reflecting on things because they're older. This shows you this is a grown woman and how much it's destroyed her life. It's hard to listen to.
10 years previously, everything I told him was the truth. And I'd ended up on antipsychotic medication. I just thought, you seriously, like, how dare you say that this is a good day?
This again, the same thing will happen if and when justice is done for those girls that have been in London. You will have people like Keir Starmer and the Mayor of London acting all smug about it, like they done something about it. People have been screaming about this for decades.
First day.
Decades.
So yeah, that was how the police handled the whole thing, and then,
let's be honest, the police are part of it. They are. I'll say it as it is. The police are part of it.
They wanted me to. I became like their poster child after Bullfinch. They paid me a consultancy day rate, and they put me in a little classroom with detectives and police officers, and they'd asked me to talk about what happened. And I did it a few times, and then I started to actually tell the police what I really thought and how crap they were, and why, basically what I've just said to you, why I don't believe anything that they say. And they suddenly dropped me, and they didn't want me to do it anymore. And it's the same with social services, because it
only comes to light when it's something like this in the media. You have to go to the media to expose something like this publicly, then for them to say, well, oh, there's a problem.
Not involved in my life anymore because I was an adult. But after the trial, I asked them for the truth. I didn't get answers, so I took them to civil court to try and get those answers, and I had a solicitor representing me. And at the 11th hour, literally, I think it was about 2 hours before it was going to go to court, they decided to settle out of court. So they would rather pay me than give me the truth. They will rather say, here's some money, please go away, and drag it out for 11 years than actually tell me the truth. Now, I also know that my solicitor had to go to great lengths to obtain my files, which should have been my legal right. Those files should have just been there, given to me. When I was
but you can't. This is the reason they're not, because there's so much information in there that probably ties to people that have been, what's the word, lacking, unprofessional in their careers, and they're probably people that are in higher up places in the police force, in government, and it would be tied to those. Maybe Keir Starmer was, because if you're talking, was he 12 years old? So it's probably, what did you say, it was 10, 15 years ago, he would have been Crown Prosecution Service. It wouldn't look good on the Prime Minister. It's all of that. It's more than just one thing.
They were never given to me when I was 18, and it took a lot to get them to appear later on. They'll say it on the telly, and they'll act like they care, and they'll say that they did a really good job of getting justice, but they didn't do a good job of getting justice, because justice, in my opinion, means the truth. And
justice for me would be every one of them, like Rex would say, the gallows.
Doesn't just mean the truth in terms of the fact that, yes, these men abused us. It means the truth in why the system abused us. Because in my opinion, that's what happened. The system also abused us. And me and the other girls have never got the answers as to why that happened. And I can't speak for the others, but for me, it's very, very hard for me to move on with my life until I have them answers. People just say, like, why don't you just move on? Why don't you forget?
And fair play to this reporter, he hasn't interrupted, like I am. Fair play to him.
About it. You can't, because every night you go to bed and you just think, why? Why did this happen?
So we've now got a national inquiry. This is, from the outside, the opportunity for you to finally find out the truth.
Yeah, and I hope you pull this apart and call it what it is.
Do you have any hope?
No, And I'll tell you what, I don't have any hope because I
Brilliant.
contacted the three ladies who are chairing this, and I asked them to clarify to me how they can be independent when the lead woman is a baroness, right? You can't be independent if you work for the organisation which is leading the inquiry. And she's also been head of, I think it's Sadiq Children's Services, and the other two.
So exactly, it goes back to the same question at hand. But how can you have those people in control of it? It's like the police doing a police investigation into corruption within the police. They're not going to give you everything, and you're never ever going to get justice. It's so bent.
I've also got links with different children's services. I don't feel that it's appropriate for the people who are chairing this to be
I haven't seen anything about that Protect.
doing something or undertaking something so serious when they have got personal ties to people who would be involved with these kinds of situations. I think there's going to be bias there that shouldn't be there. And I asked them to clarify.
That's what I mean, because it goes back to it. It's like we just said, if Keir Starmer was head of the Crown Prosecution Service in the early 2000s, mid noughties, and this comes back on him, he's the Prime Minister. So you cannot, they cannot, not we, they cannot possibly have information coming out showing his disregard. They can't.
It. And they're no longer engaging with me. I haven't had anything back. So we're already not looking good for this inquiry. I think personally that it should be chaired by people who are barristers, who are legally trained, who don't have any ties to children's services, who don't have any ties to the government, and
Brilliant.
they are therefore not biased to.
And it's and what she means by that is not biased, is not corrupt, because it's just exactly that. It's exactly that, because we're talking councils, police, maybe ambulance services who have had to deal with children that had been abused, social services, all of it.
To any organisation, they are working completely.
In other words, you scratch my back, I scratch yours. That bit of paper went missing. I don't care. It happened with the Mandelson stuff. Why can't it happen with this?
A good oversight of the law, because this is, in my opinion, a legal matter. They should be looking at this with a legal scope. Like, have the police and social services acted in a way that would meet a legal threshold? I think that in order for this to be a proper inquiry, the law needs to change, because at the minute my understanding is that it's optional for police and social workers that were involved at the time. They aren't under any obligation to answer any questions.
I agree with you, MPs 100%. Because as I say, you go back to 2010, 2012, when a lot of this was happening, or that we know of was happening. Where are all of those people now? Where was Jess Phillips then? Shabana Mahmood, Lammy, David Cameron, Boris Johnson, Tony Blair. You know, all of these people knew what was going on. The police commissioner, the mayor of London.
Does there need to be a parallel criminal investigation?
In my opinion, yeah, because if a parent, for example, there were occasions where I was quite severely injured and no medical treatment was sought. If a parent did that, the threshold would be met for a criminal investigation, like neglect or whatever. But that doesn't stand for police and social services at the moment.
To be quite honest with you, when you look about this legally, it needs to be a independent investigation. It needs to be, like what we were talking about before with Rupert Lowe. And I know some people are not the biggest fans. That's your opinion and everything else. But he came out with the extreme thought process that the entire system needs to change. If Restore Britain was to win an election, which is very unlikely because it's such an uphill task for them, if they were, he would want people that work within those sectors, not an MP like Jess Phillips, not someone like, all these other people, just toffee-nosed twats that went to university. If someone's working in a specific sector, that's the person that's the MP. Someone who knows the inside out of the police force, That's the person, someone who knows what they're doing. Because at the moment, we've seen, this is a prime example. The grooming gang inquiry is a prime example of everyone passing the buck. I don't know. And it's 10, 20 years of this shit happening. And they're still talking about, we're going to do an inquiry. Like you guys have said, it's not going to go anywhere. It needs to be independent, away from all of those. But then the problem with that, all of the doors are going to be shut, because if you find threads linked to, say, for example, hypothetically, in Rochdale, you find out this social worker and this social worker team, then they've moved on to a better job, a bigger job within government. Then you go, the police force in that area might be the police chief in that area now. Then you've got, you see what I mean? Like the MPs, then that MP might be second to Keir Starmer. CPS, Crown Prosecution Service, he's now the Prime Minister. These people have worked through that, ignored it, and they're in higher positions of power. So no one's going to open the door for her. No one's going to be honest.
There are probably...
because it's their neck on the line.
Well, definitely within my files, there are situations that probably do meet a criminal threshold, and I'm sure that you've got all the other cases up and down the country. We're talking thousands of women in my position. It would stand to reason that most of us have got a similar story, similar background, and in my opinion, yes.
Again, the one we was watching last week or the week before, there was a woman talking to her daughter that came out and spoke about things. And the mum started crying, who was probably in her 50s, and she said it happened to me as well. And she'd never told anyone. But because it happened to her daughter, she'd come out and said, and I'm like, what the So this is what I'm saying. This isn't just one particular group of people. I'm not saying it's just one particular group, but this has been going on for so long. I'm never going to shut up about it. I'm not.
People's lives have been...
I want the system to burn. I do.
Like, it's not
until justice is
something
done.
that you ever recover from. I was diagnosed with CPTSD at 15, long before trauma was trendy. Now, obviously, everyone's traumatized about something, but I had it when it was not cool to be traumatized, and I'm still very, very traumatized even now. I suffer every single day.
Did you have a dream of something you wanted to do?
I wanted to be a forensic pathologist. Right from 9. So from 9, 10 years old, I knew that I wanted to be a forensic pathologist. I knew that I needed to be a medical doctor. I knew the path that I wanted to go down, and that was my dream right from being a little kid. I know people say it's a bit morbid, but that was what I wanted to do. And if that hadn't have happened to me, the likelihood is that I would have achieved that. Because of what happened and because of the seriousness of the trauma, I've had periods of my life where I've struggled to go to the supermarket.
Yeah,
I struggle to...
And that's what I'm saying. I talk about my mental health and having problems with my mental health, which I've had for 25 years or so. But I didn't have anything like this happen to me. I don't know how someone like this can cope with it.
Maintain any kind of relationship with anybody, because my trust in people is virtually non-existent anymore.
Do you have any confidence that there are girls out there now in the situation that you were in 20 years ago?
Yes.
Who are asking for help? Are they being given help?
No.
Probably not.
No.
I'd like to think yes, but I do believe that the system is slow.
No, I don't think. No, I don't believe they're getting the help, because if they've not resolved something from way back then, what's changed within the system to clarify? What's changed within the justice system to remove the threat of this happening? Nothing has changed.
The mindset of professionals has not necessarily changed as much as it should have.
Ben's probably right.
Not as quickly as it should have in terms of moving with the times, because what happened to me, like I said, it was way before social media, but now you've got children who are on platforms like Snapchat, where, in my opinion, it's like giving paedophiles access to a sweet shop.
Exactly like it is with TikTok. Exactly like it is with TikTok. And we don't speak about things like the OF, the adult content site. enough. We don't, because what's stopping young kids getting hold of their mum's credit card or so-and-so's credit card to, you guys need to get a grip of your government? It's mate, we've been calling this out for decades. We've been calling it out for decades, and we all get called far-right monsters and thugs for calling this out. It's so, you know, that's
If
where
somebody
we're at
wants
in
to
England.
find a vulnerable kid, they're going to find them like that, and they're going to be able to groom them online, and they're going to be able to get hold of them much easier. You know, they don't even need to be on the street anymore. They can do it sat in the comfort of their own home, and the damage is just as serious. And I don't think
I'll answer the question for her. Is it still happening today? 100% yes. How can you prove it? You can prove it by the lies and manipulation by the government that we currently have. Keir Starmer's lied in Parliament 4 or 5 times and been called out for it. The Mayor of London was challenged in the London Assembly and said, are these grooming gangs in London? I don't know what you're talking about. He said, I don't know what you're talking about. And it's come out that they've opened up, 9,000 cases into historical events. So if he's the Mayor of London, how does he not know this? He does know this. So yes, it is still happening.
Necessarily, and parents maybe don't necessarily realise that their children are accessing these platforms where adults are on there looking to do children harm, and they will be acting as their friend, and they will be.
And I will call it out. There are some great people, and I know this is hard for us all to believe. There are some great people that are MPs. There's some great people in government, and there are some great people in, like, the NHS. My sister is one of them. She works with mental health and people less fortunate in the world. I know she's a good person, and I know she gives her life to it. I don't know how she does it. There are good people. It doesn't mean everyone is bad. But the system is so bent and corrupt, as we've seen exposed over the last 18 months in England. We're seeing it with our own eyes.
You know, it's probably changed now. Back in my day, they give you a few cigarettes and a can of lager. Kids don't want that anymore. They want credit for games and this, that, the other. But it's still the same thing. It might not be as obvious in the sense that your kid's coming back drunk or a little bit high, but it's the same thing. And these people...
because I deal with mental health myself, I wish I could take all of the pain and suffering that they've had and have it myself. I do, because I hate hearing this. I hate it.
Well, unfortunately, there's always going to be sick people looking to prey on children.
How do you feel? We've talked about social workers, and we talked about the police.
Yeah.
How about politicians?
That the government have consistently failed victims. Theresa May actually watched the trials. I didn't have a screen, so when I was giving evidence, she was there. I could see her, because she was the Home Secretary at the time. And then kudos to her.
So that's what I'm saying. I didn't even know that. And again, bit of a failure, old Theresa May, but I didn't hate her. I didn't hate her as a person. We were actually talking about this last night, me and Ben, because we've recorded a video for this Wednesday at 7. And I didn't hate Theresa May. You could tell is not a bad soul. That is not. Maybe you weren't great at the job. That's 2 different things. There's a difference. I don't believe Theresa May was a vindictive, evil, nasty human being. I do believe that of Keir Starmer. I do believe that of Jess Phillips. I do believe that of David Lammy. There's certain people where I'll go, you're not good people.
She was one of the people back then that was actively trying to make people listen a bit more about this and take it a bit more seriously, but it didn't really go anywhere. But yeah, so kind of for the last, well, when it happened to me, I think we were a Labour government then as well.
And see, it goes as far as saying, well, what if Theresa May wasn't a yes person? What if Theresa May was at something like this? I'm just saying, I'm throwing out scenarios, and wanted justice and wanted to be part of this, being a good person, and stepped on the wrong toes. We can't have her there. She's going to lift up too many dusty rugs. You know, I don't know. I don't have the trust and faith in government anymore.
There are a lot of ideas floating around that this crime was allowed to happen. Obviously, it didn't just happen in Oxford, Rochdale, Rotherham, Telford, Derby, everywhere it happened, was allowed to happen because people didn't want to rock the race card, and because it was a Labour government at the time, and we are talking gangs of predominantly Muslim men. We can't say Pakistani because there was North African men and people of different descent, but the religion was Muslim. And these Muslim men were targeting vulnerable white girls. And there are a lot of like people saying that the reason this happened was because the government didn't want to rock that boat. They needed the Muslim vote, and so it was better for them to do nothing, so they kept the Muslims on side, if you like.
Right, you know what? I'm not going to go too deep into it today. I've started off doing this because it's been a long time since I've done a live stream. It's been a long time since I've done a proper live stream like this, and I do want to get back into the swing of things properly. But I'm going to do like this is today. We're going to finish here because I'm going to keep it short, but we're going to be doing this every night now from 7 p.m. I'm going to get back into the flow of things and not hold back anymore, you know? And I think it's partly, I mean, I've had some personal things going on as well. So I've had to take a break because I've had a few personal problems, but it's now or never with all of this. And we've all been saying that, you know? And there's a lot on my mind. I know there's a lot on your mind. And I think it's time. I mean, people now are more than happy. I'm more than happy to invite people on. You can come on camera, have your say about how you feel about things. I've got it all set up now. And I implore you to do that. You know, you don't have to go mad. You don't have to swear. You know, we'll keep it cordial and respectful. But more and more people need to speak out about all of this stuff. And it's not just this. This is just one of many things that a lot of us are feeling. But I'll be back again, bang on 7. I will be on at 7 tomorrow. But I just wanted to sort of touch base with everyone and just say, hi, I'm back doing the show. And we will be doing it 7 p.m. every night. We've got a video that we've already recorded for Wednesday at 7 p.m. And there's another couple of stories that have already triggered me today, if you like, if that's the right word. And I'm going to be going into a bit more detail about that tomorrow. This is about some people that are predominant figures within the Muslim community in the United Kingdom that have been making comments over the last 24, 48 hours about specific things that have been happening. And I didn't want to just shout my mouth off. I need to be composed and do it in the correct way. So I'm going to do that tomorrow night from 7 p.m. and call those people out, because the double standard that we're seeing in this country is like nothing I've ever seen before. It's a joke. So thank you for joining me. Those of you that have joined me for today, it's just a sort of a touch base with everyone to say hello. We will be back tomorrow at 7 p.m. and we'll go through a proper organised, structured flow of the news and everything else. But I just wanted to sort of come on and get myself used to it again, you know. Being away for a while, it's probably been 6 weeks since I've been in front of the camera like this, doing it. So, hello, Perinthian. Oh, sorry, it's Pat, not Perinthian. I've got my glasses on, species. But yeah, we will be back tomorrow at 7 p.m. and I'll be more in tune with things, in that flow of the news, if you like. Pardon me. But yeah, thank you for joining me on the first one back. It takes me a while to get back into the vibe. And I will see you again right here tomorrow, as I say, all week, Monday to Friday, 7 p.m. Yeah, thank you for joining me, and I'll see you again tomorrow. Peace and love, everyone. Have a lovely, lovely evening.